Good day and welcome to a different type of video regarding the TR7. What I have here is a TR7 that I picked up off eBay, which was being sold as a complete unit. I've taken the front plastic fascia off just to so it doesn't give any glare. It's in pretty good condition. There's a bit of a cleanup perhaps. There's just one slight scratch down there, very light scratch, and it's still got the original sort of screen sealing on there. But I'll say I've left this off just to save any glare. So you can see it's got all the dials there. It's in very good condition. I've cleaned it all up, and there were a few problems with the membrane again on the back. And I've got it all hooked up to my power supply at the moment, but it's the output switched off, and I've got it set to. I'll set it to 12 volts. Not sure if you can see that, but it is on 12 volts. And the current limit's on about half an amp at the moment, so we're not too uh, worried about that. The clock does work out of situ, but when all the back plates are back on the clock and it's back pressed into the pins of the receptacle there, it doesn't want to run. Now I'm hoping that, similar to Henry's dash, that once it's in the car and it's all hooked up, it'll run. But I can't seem to get it to kick off outside of this assembly. But nevertheless, now there were faulty bulbs on this, and I've replaced the bulbs. If I turn it over, now that front fascia's come off now. That's all right. I'm just going to get rid of these. Get rid of this fascia plate as well, and get rid of these. The plugins here. That's the choke and the oxygen sensor, which we don't use. The center assembly is pretty much in there quite rigid. She's not going to fall out anytime soon. So, but if I show you the back end of it, again, just with some of the repairs I've had to make on the membrane here, a couple of tracks, and where the tracks are lifting, I put a bit of hot melt in there, and along here just to tie the membrane down. Now, when you look at this system, basically I've got the 12 volt power supply connected to the clock. So this ground, obviously, I'm going to say the ground, well, the supply. This supply here goes everywhere on this board. So you always have 12 volts going to this membrane. Now, when a light needs to be activated, it's the ground of the circuit which actually gets made. So what I have is a flying ground to connected, and I've got the flying ground at the moment connected to the voltage gauge. And when I want to test a light, I have to actually put the ground to the right side of the bulb to get the bulb to come on. I'll show you that in a minute. And there's only one receptacle which is missing for the illumination on the dash. But when you power up one of these lights, they should all light, because all the lights are in parallel pretty much. So, and all the individual lights need to be grounded at certain points. And when you look at the circuit diagram for the Europe and the UK, I can pull that up now. It's a bit of a mess, and to get your head around, I know some people have been trying. So if I can change the screen to that, let me just pull this up over here. Let's get this over to here. Let's just see if I can. Yeah, so let's get that. So try and get it to format a bit better for you. Nope. Okay, we'll leave it as such. So this is. So let's take one for an example. The 107. If I go up, tell you what 107 is, or down rather. 107 is the low fuel warning light, or maybe that's a bad example to use, simply because the low fuel light has a delay unit on it. So let's take let's go for the oil pressure switch, shall we? Oil pressure switch 102. So there's the 102. So as you can see, the diagram here shows this as already made closed. So that light in that situation will be on because the ground's being made. But the 12 volts actually comes from this side of the coil to the white, which is obviously going up to whatever this part here is. I think that's 70 is the heater switch. Is it 70? There's oh yes, it was here, rear screen warning light, heated rear screen 71. Well, we don't have that on the convertible. That's why it's in this sort of staggered box here. Likewise for the aircon, this is an option. So the only thing we have here is this bit here, which is the fan speed controller, which is a lever with three speed switch settings. Now, so let's try and get this this lamp here on, which is 102, which is the oil pressure switch, which incidentally is, let's take this out of the way, which will be the oil switch there, which is the second one down. Perhaps if I turn it up the right way, it might make it easier for viewing. There we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that flying ground lead and I'm going to put it onto the back. I'm just going to hold it there. I'm just going to put it onto the back of the second receptacle down here to get that to illuminate. So I'm going to do that first. Let me just take the flying lead off. This is off the voltmeter. I'll show you why I've got it on the voltmeter in a minute. But so if I switch that supply on, see it coming up to 1209 volts, and I think it's in that way around. Hang on. We've got this fella here. This is probably the ignition, is it? Yeah. There's the oil light. There we go. So you can see that's me take the ground off. Bang. Put the ground back on. And I can sequentially go through these to actually get them to illuminate. He says. Is that one? That's not on. Let's get this one to on. That's the brake light. Hang on, if I come back a bit, hang on. Let's do the brake light, shall we? Do the brake light. Yep, there's the brake light. Oil. Try and get another one on. That's not coming on. The third one down isn't coming on now for some reason. Try this one. Nope. Why isn't that coming on? Ah dear. That's not coming on. There we are. That one's coming on, which is. I'm trying to do this. Watch the thing, and so that would be the coolant light. Okay. And I can do the top three as well. These are. Let's have a look. Make sure I can get this. Put the ground on this again. That's the ignition. That is the. Well, that will show up through the dash as a little arrow for the indicator, and then the same this side for that indicator. And I can do the choke. There's the choke light. Well, you can't see it. You would have, if I had the choke receptacle in there. Which one's which? I think it's that one. Let's put that choke receptacle in there. Choke display. Do it again. There you go, choke. There we are. And so all the lamps are working. Oh, let's do the dash lights. See if we get the illumination up. There we are. You can just about see it come up there. Hang on, there we are. Let's get it up there. So I've got one missing at the moment. So when that other one's on, the other lamp receptacle will be in there because I've got no lamp in there at the moment, and she's missing. But you get the 12 volts. But don't forget, I am grounding everything, and it's the way the circuit diagram. From the circuit diagram, if I pull that across again, what you're looking at is everything gets grounded out. Even these lamps here, 107, if you trace it through, that's going through the delay unit, and when that contact is made, it's grounded out there. So that's the way this whole thing works. Everything is switched to ground, not the other way around. So if I do what I was going to do initially, is connect the voltmeter up, and I just want to take you through what the voltmeter shows for what type of for what voltage. So I know which side it was on. It was on this side. So I'm just going to connect that in, the flying ground again. Just make a rudimentary connection on that, he says. Okay, let's see what she's doing. Now, one would hope that he says, is that coming up? You might start to see it to move. Now, when the car's running and you're getting the alternator voltage, you should get up to nearly 13.5 volts coming out of the alternator with a healthy alternator. So, your rectifier is good and everything's running as it should. So now my power supply is set to 12 volts. I'm going to simulate it now as if it's running up to about, the voltage I'm measuring at the battery is going to be 13.5 volts. If I step that up to 13.5, oh no, let's go 13.5. It's jumped a bit there, sorry. Let's go up to 13.5. All right, okay. Take the current down a bit. Up to 5. 13.6 thereabouts. You can see the needle there has actually gone up. So if you get your needle here when you're running at a certain RPM and you're getting the most out of your alternator, this is where the needle is going to be showing. It's just going to be above center. But if she's idling, you might get about 12 volts. So let's take that down to 12 volts. Thereabouts. And you see the needle just drop down. And then if you put your lights on, anything else you're playing with a stereo or something, then that's going to drop down even further because the power under tick over. But as soon as you start revving the engine, you'll start charging the battery. There's a high voltage, and that voltage will go up. So if you're running the car and you continually see this, drop it to 8 volts. If you drop it right down, maybe that's too much. Let's drop it nearly 10 volts. Still was a good 10.81 volt, shall we? You know you've got a problem. There may be enough oomph in the battery to get it to tick over. See, that's 11.82 now. And we're on about a quarter of a watt here. Sorry, a quarter of an amp. That's about 3 watts. So if you're running down to the low end scale on your voltmeter, then you know you've probably got a problem that your battery's not charging, or your alternator, sorry, isn't kicking out the voltage. And you can always similarly test these. If I get the fuel gauge and just gently with my finger bring it all the way around to the full scale, when you let go, she should automatically return to 0. And likewise with the temp sender, if I gently bring that up to maximum, and then she should go back. Well, I may have gone not too far with that. She's against the hard stop there. Oh, for some reason, it's going the opposite way. That's strange. Never had that before. That's very strange. Not sure why that's doing that. That's very strange. I need to look at that. Never noticed that. But the fuel gauge has dropped to 0. So I just turn the output of the voltmeter goes to 0. So we can see one that's going up to there. I wonder why that is. So she's going down now. I wonder if it's because I don't think I've got that ground on the wrong way. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So I bring it up again. And she is going back to 0. So let's just switch it back on again and see what's happening here. Very interesting. So I'm going to take this ground out of the voltmeter. She might be getting a circuit through there for some reason. Switch it back on. See if she still returns to 0. She is. Yeah. That's on. Get the flying lead again. Nope, that's definitely that way, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Right, so the other thing I was going to say is that for these two here, these two lamps here, which are the main beam and the low fuel light, these are isolated from the membrane. So to actually test these lights, you have to actually physically get a different 12 volts, a positive and a negative, and it doesn't really matter which way around it goes, because you put the leads on and the leads will come off a different circuit because they come directly from the main beam relay and also the delay unit, which is fed by the fuel temp sender. So if I put this on, you can see, oh, you haven't seen that light up yet. Let's put that through there. And put that through there. Let's just get that round a bit. It's a bit too big, that one. a little bit too fat on the end. Trim that down a bit, perhaps. No, trim it down a bit, CJ. Get that in there. And you'll be able to see that's with the fuel light. That's with the fuel light company. It's a bit bright, I must admit. It's lovely and bright. So that's the fuel light. And then the main beam, which should be the blue. Just a second. Let's show that working too. All fingers and thumbs here. And hopefully that should be the blue, the main beam. Yep, there we go. Take the output off again. And there we are. So again, there is a lamp in this side here for the oxygen sensor, though we never use it on the UK version. So I could technically take this dash and try it in my TR7, but to be honest with you, I think for the amount of bench testing I've done, everything works. I can get a magnet actually and just show you how, if I put the magnet on one of the connections, hopefully you may see. No, I think it's because it's in circuit now. Try it the other way. You can see that gauge go up. If I take the magnet off, she'll drop down. If I put it on the other connection, she should go back quicker. She goes back up. Or if I turn it around the other way, and she drops back down very quickly. I think the same can be said for the temp sender. She's going up. This is just with the magnet. So what you're doing is you've just got some flux going into the coil. And then if I take it off, she should drop back. If I put on that one, she might go quicker. Stops. It's good to turn the pole around. Bang, back she goes. And that, as they say, is that. Try and get the magnet to kick the spinner on the clock. It's not working. Anyway, so I could technically get this thing and test it in the car. I've cleaned up this fascia plate. It's really nice actually. And this dash, for whatever year it is, there is a sticker on the side. Let me see if I can see what the sticker is. And it says 509 IP 6807/14. No idea what that is. 509. It's not a date code on it. But there you are, TR7. I'm sure the speedo and the tacho's okay. Very good quality this for the age, and it all works. So with that, I shall leave it there, and thanks very much for watching. And if you're interested, I'm sure this is going to be listed on eBay for a fair old sum, since this is now repaired and all working. I suppose I could do a video of trying it in my car, but I just don't want to take all my dash apart again, not since I've done it all. So, but yeah, I could have used this clock, to be honest with you, but I thought I'd rather sell it now. I have seen these clocks for sale for about £200. So yeah, if you fancy a good quality or good condition of TR7 dash, yeah, have a look at my eBay listing. Thanks very much, and goodbye. Yeah, I'll hope you enjoyed that. I'm just going to find out where I need to switch off. Here we are. It's getting on a bit. Bye now.